Hi folks, you're with Tacitus today at your Pushback channel, and thank you for joining this audio live stream. In this essay, I'd like to talk about the illegal migrant crossings in small boats, facilitated by the NGOs, the people smugglers and so on, from North Africa to Italy or to the southern coast of Europe. It could be Spain, it could be anywhere on that southern Mediterranean coast in Europe there. Now, I was looking at something online, and there was a small pop-up story there that said 57, I think it was, illegal migrants, African peasants and everything, had died or drowned rather when their boat had capsized as they were trying to make one of those illegal crossings. So I thought, well, wow, having 57 people drowning, surely that's a story that must be going around the world. I mean, all we need is one black person to be even assaulted by a white person. It's an international headline. And here we've got 57 brown and black people drowning. So wow, this must be headlines upon headlines. This must be running, rocketing like a crescendo through the international media. But not one mainstream media outlet in the West has reported on this. I mean, wow. Again, I stress that if a white person in England or America or any white country even has an altercation with a black person, it's an international headline. But here, 57 brown and black people die, and there's nothing in the media. Total silence. I mean, this is so. I was sort of digging through. I thought the BBC in Britain would cover this, and I looked through. I couldn't find a single story on. Certainly wasn't a headline or a secondary headline or anything like that. So if it did exist at all, it was buried deep in the bowels of something else, if indeed it was mentioned at all. I just couldn't find anything. So I had a look at this was mentioned by Al Jazeera, that was referencing local Sicilian, that's the island off the south coast of Italy, was looking at a Sicilian newspaper, and they were reporting it. So I went to the Sicilian newspaper and back to Al Jazeera to have a look through their list, and there's actually quite a few drownings. So some of smaller numbers, or the boat partially capsizes and 10 people go overboard, but others survive. That sort of thing. NGO boats, NGO ships come and rescue them, but don't get there soon enough, and some drown. But the drownings are quite regular. I had no idea that it was that. I mean, you're lucky to go a week without some drownings, and some of this is 60 people head out in the boat, but only 45 turn up at the other end. Therefore, now it's hard to quantify, I guess, numbers, but we'd have to be looking over any 12-month period. We'd have to be looking at the multiple thousands of people who are drowning. So attempting to cross illegally. But looking at the stories in the Italian newspapers, and then looking at using those dates, then referring back to the catalogue of news stories in the mainstream Western media, such as the BBC and others, there's no mention of it. Now, whether or not they don't believe it's accurate, but given that they don't care about accuracy when they want an anti-white headline, so you'd think they'd be all over this, but there's no mention of it. So there's a determination and obviously an agreement and arrangement in the mainstream globalist controlled mainstream media to keep quiet about this, to not say anything. Maybe they think it would look bad for the activists who are arguing for ramping up the mass migration, and we have to give these refugees everything and so on. But it is something I think of major concern. Why is the mainstream media hiding this and keeping it quiet? Why is it not reported? Why are they purposefully and in collusion selecting stories to cover about mass migration that only presented in the most flattering light of helpless put upon victims and evil white Nazis in conflict, that sort of stuff. These people, same as the thousands of black men that are getting murdered each year by other black men. Nobody cares. It doesn't even get a mention in the media. But all it takes is one black man to be assaulted or shot by a white guy, and it's international screaming, absolutely screaming international headlines. Yet thousands of black men murder each other and nobody cares. Thousands of black and brown people drown in the Mediterranean, but nobody cares. There's something terribly wrong with our media. For being Tacitus today, your pushback channel, and thank you for listening.